Yesterday, the Trump administration declared Minnesota's policies allowing transgender athletes to play on teams matching their gender identity violated federal law. Of course, we all know this is Title IX. This is the latest escalation in a feud between the federal government and the Democratic-led state. This comes out of a news organization called the UPI. I get my news from somebody different today. The ruling was from the Civil Rights Office of the U.S. Department of Education and the Department of Health and Human Services. They give Minnesota 10 days to adopt a slew of actions, including abandoning its transgender inclusive athletics policies or risk federal funding cuts. Donald Trump promised this from day one. He signed that executive order, I think it was day one. I know that he signed like 200 executive orders that day. One big one, Riley Gaines was there, I know, was the executive order saying that you will no longer allow boys who think they are girls to participate in girls' sports. So here the article goes on. Minnesota permits male athletes to compete in sports designated for females, which denies females equal opportunities under Title IX that they deserve in athletic competition. HHS OCR Director Paula Standard said in a statement, Minnesota fails to recognize the fundamental biological differences between males and females, differences that justify single-sex teams and are essential to ensuring fair and safe competition for girls and women. Hence, Title IX. 90-10 issue here. Maybe 95-5 issue at this point. Minnesota, led by Trump rival, of course, Governor Tim Walz, has been a target of the Trump administration and has been subject to numerous federal actions over its so-called left-leaning policies, including its inclusive hiring practices and providing higher education tuition benefits to undocumented immigrants, which I mentioned in my last video. So they're coming. Trump promised. It took 9 months, but here we go. They're coming. I want to talk about, if you're not familiar with any specifics of how unfair this is, one particular case out of Minnesota, a Champlin, Minnesota, transgender softball player. Name of this person now is Marissa Rothenberg. Marissa was born a male and was initially named Charlie Dean. Okay, this year, Marissa played softball. She pitched every inning of the 2025 Minnesota Class 4A state tournament, including a 6-0 shutout in the final against Egan, winning Champlin Park's first title ever. Okay, but let's go on. Games in a row. Marissa pitched in the tournament 3 consecutive games, all 21 innings. Now here's kind of a loophole between girls softball and boys baseball, because in softball you pitch underhand and in baseball you pitch overhand. Just physically the way that you pitch is safer on the arm. Underhand, even fast pitch, underhand is safer on the arm. So there are no regulations as far as how many innings you can pitch as a pitcher for a girls team. Contrary to that is boys baseball. I don't have the numbers here, but there is a limit to a boy in high school how many innings that they can pitch before they need to rest. And because of this, because underhanded pitching is safer on the arm, they can do things like this. This transgender athlete, Marissa, pitched all 3 games of the state tournament. Every inning. She pitched 21 innings. Marissa pitched 21 innings in a row. Okay? They didn't even allow any of their other pitchers. So, it's not fair, but at the same time, look at the adults involved here. The adults don't care. They wanted to win. They don't want their other girls, the girls, biological females, to play. They don't really care. They just wanted a state tournament. Marissa pitched 94 innings all year. Champlin played 26 games all year. A full game in softball is 7 innings. So we're talking 184, I believe, is what I did. 184 innings total for 26 games. They won 24 and lost 2. But there is a mercy rule in girls softball. That means that if you get to inning 5 and you are up by 10 or more runs, then the game is called. Mercy rule. Champlin won 4 games by the mercy rule. 13-1 against Chaska, 10-0 against Coon Rapids, 12-2 versus Robbinsdale Armstrong, and 15-2 versus Osseo. Okay, so they destroyed a couple of teams right there. Now, likely, you know, there's strong teams and weak teams. You also know the weaker teams in your conference. You don't even need Marissa to pitch against those teams, right? So you just use her. You just use Marissa. I keep saying her, but I don't feel comfortable doing that. I just want to say Marissa. It sucks because I don't want to be offensive and say he and then have this tit for tat back and forth about, you know, you're being disrespectful. Marissa thinks that Marissa's a girl, blah, blah, blah. So I just try, when I talk about a transgender person, I just try and use their name. So I'm using a name. You can't be mad at me for using your name. It might be awkward that I'm constantly saying your name instead of using a pronoun. But it's so infuriating because Marissa is not a she. And I've said it a couple of times, and it sucks. It feels bad. Like, Marissa's not a she. Why would I say she? So I should just say Marissa. Anyway, Marissa probably didn't have to pitch in a number of these games because they knew that they were going to win anyway without Marissa. And it just pissed me off when I didn't pay a lot of attention except that I saw that they were winning, Champlin was winning, and they had this transgender pitcher out there, and then at the end to see that they won, whoop-de-doo. You had a male as your pitcher, and then to see that not only that did they win with this male as their pitcher, but they, the coaches, the parents, everybody on board, was allowed this person to pitch every inning of that state tournament just to guarantee themselves a state tournament win. How crappy is that? I mean, that's crappy for everybody. And I posted something on X at the time. I said, everybody loses in this situation. All the girls on the Champlin softball team, they lose because they know that they cheated. I'll say it. You're cheating. It's cheating. You cheated to win. So you get a little asterisk by your win there in the state record books as far as I'm concerned. And hopefully after this all goes through, they'll just pull you out of the record books and remove that. Just remove that from history because it's BS. We all know it. Only a few people are willing to stand up and talk about it. But then you get all the adults who are pushing this and okay with this, the coaches, the school, all the parents. And yeah, if I talk to individual parents, they might say, oh, I was uncomfortable, but I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. Well, that's what you do as a parent. Honestly, you're honest. The oldie song comes to mind, you got to be cruel to be kind. That's what we do as parents. We have to tell our kids the truth. And we have to have some sort of morals. And they failed. All the adults involved in this failed. Okay? And like I said, everybody loses. They got a state championship. They got to jump around and be happy, but in the back of their minds, they know they cheated. The teams that they beat throughout the season, they know that they were cheated of an opportunity. Now, they may not have beat Champlin if Marissa wasn't on their team, but at least they would have had a fair shot, right? And every team that they played, because one loss could mean the difference between going to the playoffs or not. And then every team who made it to the state tournament had a chance, fighting for a state title, and then you go up against a team that's got a boy on it. You know, how unfair is that? And so all of those teams, all of those players, all of those girls were cheated out of this. And you can't take that back. You can't change it. Like I said, I think their names need to be ripped out of the record books. But that doesn't mean that you can go back and give all these players that experience of some other team potentially should have won the state tournament, or you would have had a better chance, or you wouldn't have felt so terrible about losing if you had a fair play. And so here we go. You know, it's bittersweet. Finally, Trump is going after them, and they got 10 days. They got 10 days to respond. Of course, Keith Ellison, all he's been doing for the last 9 months is trying to sue Trump every chance he gets. Keith Ellison doesn't really do much else right now. And so I know he's trying to wage a legal war against Donald Trump every chance he gets, but they've been put on notice. 10 days and they're going to pull federal funding. So I am interested to see how that goes. So we're moving in the right direction. It's happening. It's happening. You know, this administration has been doing a lot. I know that this was a big thing, and now here we go. It's happening. So stay tuned to see what really, you know, how this transpires. Thanks for watching. Steve Loomis with Walking That Mile. Please subscribe, hit that like button. Thank you.